Big fish. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Sid Mickle Publications. This morning, I want to ask you a question. I want to ask all our indie writers and potential indie authors out there one question. Do you treat your writing career, your writing journey, like a business? Because if you're not doing that, you're probably making a mistake. I want to encourage every indie author out there. Sorry, the fish is making a lot of noise in the background. I want to encourage all our indie authors to sit down and think about making some changes. Put your writing career and your writing style into a business-like format. Create a process for your writing. I spent 38 years in the sales management and consulting world. I understand processes and I understand how to sell. I understand the management of emotions, the way to convince, the way to get other people to do things for you and with you that you need to get done. I understand those. But the most important thing we can do to sell books is this. We have to have reviews. That's the number one thing to sell your books. Let me give you an example. When I was first writing, I was getting some help from a guy who had written several books, and he was giving me kind of a consultation. And we talked about the writing rules and discipline and all those basics. And I said, yeah, I got you. I'm going to put it in my business-minded form. I'm going to set up a process and I'm going to follow it. And I'm going to write a lot and I'm going to understand the disciplines and I'm going to make sure I do those things. And then he said, but the key is reviews. Visibility comes from really positive reviews. My comment was, oh, I know enough people, I'll get 100 reviews right away. And he looked at me and he just shook his head and he goes, no, that's not how it works. You're not going to get 100 reviews. You're going to be happy to get 5 or 3. And you have to work to get those. He was exactly right. Getting reviews is probably the hardest thing you will do other than just really writing your book. People mean well. They tell you they're going to give you a great review. And they think they are. But it's not just a matter of going on and opening up one page and writing the review. It's a little bit cumbersome to leave an Amazon review. And you've got to help people get in the mindset and understand how that process works. And you want them to know that. Again, your social media, as you get closer to that publishing date, you can use your excerpt and social media update to inform them. Think about leaving me a review because you're going to be able to buy this book in a couple of weeks or a month or whatever. Use the tools that are there. You have to make sure that you do that. If you think about your writing career, you have to have the discipline to write. You've got to sit down and write a lot. You've got to edit and you've got to rewrite and you've got to revise things over and over. So that's the writing discipline that you're going to understand and hopefully that you have as you lay this book out and you get started on it. But there's something else I want you to be very aware of and keep in your mind as you're writing the book. Don't think about selling the book after you write it. Think about selling the book right now as you're going along. Get your social media in tune with where you are in the book. Get out there and start telling people about the book as hard as you can. Then involve them in that journey. Tell them about what you're doing with excerpts. Give them updates with social media posts. Try to move your following along with you. Get them tuned into what you're doing. That way, when you get closer and closer to a launch, whether you do a pre-launch or whether you just go on one day and you tell them, yeah, we've been talking about this, now the book is available. Either one is fine, but you want to build up some anticipation of your book being available so people can go buy it. That's critically important, and we talk about that a lot on this channel. Social media is very important. Now let's talk about some of the things that I have done personally that have taught me some lessons about writing and the idea of selling books. I have participated in free book giveaways. I have participated in Amazon ads. I have participated in just about everything I can come up with that says, do this and you will sell books. And you know what I've gotten from all of those as a collection? Basically nothing. I would tell you that I've gotten as much positive results from my social media uploads as I have from any of the money I've spent on ads and promotions. I just personally don't think they're very valuable, and I'll tell you why. They're not very valuable because we are unknown. We are invisible. And there are probably, I think the number was over 400,000 new books last year. That number seems a little light because there are hundreds of thousands of books. I'm a novelist. I write crime fiction stories primarily now. I've written some other books. I've written some niche books about certain specific topics, and my first book was basically a modified memoir. It was about things that I remembered in my life. But now I write about crime fiction, or I write about things like the Civil War fiction, but mainly novels. There are a lot of very strong novelists in the book publishing world. And it's very hard for you and I to break out and compete with them. Of all those millions of books out there, I would guess that the top 5 to 8% sell 90% of the books. Maybe those numbers are off just a little bit, but that's very true. If you remember, I mentioned that less than 1%, far less than 1% of indie authors have the ability to generate the revenue to have this as a career. We're basically invisible and we're unknown. Our task is to set up a process that improves our visibility, that makes us less invisible. So if we do that, we're keeping with our mindset of being disciplined, doing all those things and writing well, keeping people involved with us. The other thing is this: you have to go out and work very hard on your author page. You have to work very, very hard on your book blurb. You have to do those things that are just outside your focus on writing the books, but that are very important. These ancillary things really fit in a big process. That's why I always encourage people to treat your writing like a business. Now, let me throw in one disclaimer here. In no way, absolutely no way am I telling you to go buy reviews. That's a good way to get your book banned and your whole account closed, at least on Amazon. You don't want to cheat. You don't want to play those games. That's not what it's about. You can use your personal inner relationships and you can use your interactions to encourage a group of people. Maybe you can get 5 reviews. Maybe you can get 10. If you can get 20, you're going to see some success, I believe. But you've got to start working on this early on, and you've got to be very aggressive when you go searching for reviews. Okay, let's go back and talk just a little bit more about why these reviews are so important. It's all about visibility. We talked about how the big name authors sell most of the books on Amazon. We know there's a lot of books coming in every year. And to be very honest with you, there's a lot of junk that goes in. There are a lot of people who just throw low content books that aren't edited, that aren't adorned with great covers, and they just throw them out there. Now, look, it's a free country. It's a free opportunity. If you want to do that, you can certainly do it. I don't want to do that, and I hope you won't do that. And another thing I hope you will not even consider, along with not putting a crappy book out, not trying to do some games with reviews, I want you to really pay attention to this. Don't go out and pay someone to publish your book. If I can publish a book, I promise you, you can publish a book. The first one's not easy. It's not simple. I use Amazon KDP. It was a challenge, the first one. Then it gets much easier. If I can do it, I promise you can do it. Don't go pay people for the special rates of publishing this week or this month. Don't do that. And the other thing, when you're in the situation, let's say you've published a book as an indie author and it's sitting. Maybe you've gotten 3 sales or 4 sales or 5 sales. Maybe you haven't had sales in months. Don't get desperate and go back and feed into the scammers who are out there looking to just get your money, promise you the world, tell you they can fix everything. It's just like some writing advice tells you, if you'll just do this, it'll be all better. If you'll just sign up for my newsletter and pay for my special course, it'll be better. Well, no, it won't. You can control all these things by writing high quality, good material. Then following up with these very difficult but absolutely necessary steps. And the final thing I'm going to tell you here is this. Stay away from the online groups, the groups and subgroups, because if you go in there and you start asking questions, you'll be greeted with toxicity for the biggest part. Now, there are some people who send in great advice and they have heartfelt, good feelings toward their fellow indie authors. But there are many really narcissistic experts out there who like to slam you. And there's times I've been in my writing career where I was down about everything I was doing. Nothing worked, nothing helped, and I was getting a little bit frustrated and desperate. And had some of those voices piled in on me, I might have just tucked it all away and walked away. Avoid those people, avoid those groups. You don't need that. You just really don't. Find yourself a writing community. And yeah, I have a writing community. This channel is a writing community. We'll take your comments. We'll work with you as much as we can. We're not selling anything. But if not this channel of writing community, find a writing community that resonates with you. You're typically a team of one. You're a solitary person. Your business is one person. Add a great writing community to your team. It can quadruple your numbers and your information and your advice and all the things you need, and certainly will help you from a level of encouragement. Find a great writing community. Now, all these things I've said this morning aren't easy. They aren't simple. But the one thing I would tell you is this. Put your writing experience, your writing journey into your mind as a business and move it forward as a business. Set up processes, have mileposts that you need to start doing this when you reach that milepost. As you get closer to the end, other mileposts. Get yourself organized in a very business-like manner and focus on reviews as you get close to your publish date. Get that started early. I hope some of these things will help you. I hope they resonate with you. I hope you all have a great week as well. We'll come back later on this week or maybe early next week with another video. But until then, make sure you take care of yourself. Go out and have some fun with your friends and family. It'll be very important to you. But keep writing and keep working. Do not get discouraged. And we will see you again next week. Bye-bye.